Hello and welcome to the Great Universus Bake Off. We are back with episode 3 with 3 amazing new bakers, 2 outstanding judges, and the same amount of time for the creation of these decks. Joining me on the judging table today, we have the amazing Critical Role star and Canon Caduceus Clay Snuggy Bear, and we have the absolutely amazing, stunning, and content creator queen, Rebby Lynn, who is, I hear is actually the genius behind Ham's decks.
Not true at all, even in the slightest.
How are you guys doing?
Doing good. I'm excited to
great.
see what all the bakers are going to come up with.
Well, speaking of our bakers, we have got 3 very special bakers to end off our preliminary stages. He's known to some as the nice young man, others he's known as UVS Daddy. It is Chris Smith. How are you doing?
I've never been called daddy before, so I'm kind of good right now. Let's go.
Joining Chris, we have fresh off his matrimonial vows, coming in from locals to help me out here, and former UKVersus host. How are you doing, Richard?
I am wonderful, apart from the fact that everything is melting and sweat at the moment because we're just heat wave over here. And we don't have the joys of air conditioning, so we just melt.
We are in the middle of a heat wave here, so that's why you might hear a fan in my background and see one behind me. And the final person that has joined in with the baking is someone who was very hyped at the moment I sent this, immediately messaged me going, yes, I'm in. A avid sponsor of community events and community trolling, thanks to me. We have Marvin from Undefeated Locals. How are you doing?
Not too bad, man. I'm excited to be crowned the greatest Universus baker here in about, 30 minutes or so.
So you'll have 2 rounds to build. You've got 30 minutes each time. The judges will give you a different card and a deck synopsis, kind of what they're looking for this deck to do or build around, or what they're looking to build it against. You'll go off to your tables. You'll have your 30 minutes, as I just said. One of you will then be eliminated after you've presented your decks and we've gone off for judging. And we'll do it all again in the finals. The winner here will get some regionals promos courtesy of Patriot Games that Sean is kindly donated and will send out. And the overall winner will be brought back for the championship finals against Reese Simpson and Kai to go head to head for an orange and grey deck box from Worlds 2022. Let's head over to our first judge, Snuggy, who will tell you what card they have chosen, why they've chosen it, and the stipulations for the deck you need to build. Take it away, my friend.
Bakers, I am looking forward to, surprisingly, a lot of people don't know this about me. I used to be a competitive fighting game player long lifetimes ago. And I used to play Marvel versus Capcom a lot. Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Street Fighter is releasing some awesome characters that is coming up. Specifically, I like Jamie. Kind of a wisecrack, cocky, full of himself, but also still has great respect for his elders, especially Chun-Li. And he likes drinking. So do I. I want to see you put together a deck using Jamie, but bonus if you include cards that use counters, much like he does. It doesn't have to be specifically drink counters, but any type of counters that you would add to the card or take away from the card.
So a competitive deck built around Jamie, but utilizing counters. Again, I think Marvin with the pony here has a big advantage. How are you guys feeling about this selection?
I'm just really hoping that all of the Street Fighter cards are on UVS Ultra.
The majority of them are. The ones that they've shown up until last week are up on here. So
I'll let you guys jump off to your tables. I'll start the 30-minute timer, which you've all set aside your screen, and we'll begin. Best of luck.
see you
Good
guys
luck,
later.
chaps.
Bye.
You like us?
Is there any cards in particular that you're looking for in this Snuggie? Are there any counter cards you've already gravitated towards when you're researching this?
No, not really. I know that looking in the past, I had seen, and it had been because my local scene is rather large. I think we're like second biggest in the States, somewhere in there. We had talked about different theme decks and different, quote unquote troll decks or meme decks, stuff like that. We had one person pitching doing a counters only style deck, and trying to include as many different counters as possible. So I can think of some off the top of my head, one of which that didn't get utilized whatsoever in competitive play was during Girl Power. We had mushroom counters, and I saw a few guys like have little mushrooms that they would put on the cards that were like made out of clay. That was their mushroom counters. Obviously pony cards, myself being the other kind of semi well-known pony player other than Marvin. There are a bunch of cards that jump out, but more importantly, I want to see how many different counters they can pull into things.
Rebby, you've been blindsided much like the bakers with this selection. What kind of cards and theme would you be looking for in a deck that's built around counters?
Oh my gosh. So he said the idea out, and I was like, that's really interesting. I'm going to go to UVS Ultra, and I'm going to just scan really fast and see what even has counters on these symbols. And there's like 6 different type of counters that you can put on this, which is so cool that, oh, well, if I want it to be applause counters, it could be mushroom counters, it could be horn counters. I think the applause counters technique would be really cool in the same instance, but I think the rage counters would definitely be more Jamie's style. And I think like integrating the real power behind what rage counters can do for like an aggressive gameplay towards like a more meta deck would be super interesting to see.
Are you going to be looking at just counter generation or the way that counters are going to get used? So things like I would like to rage or tasty riff that are able to utilize your counter count as well as utilize your counters in themselves in order to have that competitive deck edge.
Good. I think for Snuggy's idea, I think it's really cool, and being the meta edge that he is requesting, I think it's really important that we're utilizing these counters rather than just obtaining them in fun, unique ways, because that's getting them is fun. Utilizing them is meta and competitive.
Exactly. And that's why I think the other aspect comes into play. Is like, okay, I can stack up all this extra currency, but if I have nothing to spend it on, then okay, I'm just going to have a lot of bits and pieces and baubles that are on my stage. You were talking about I would like to rage as an example, tying to another critical role. One thing I've always wanted to see is somebody actually win with pamphlet counters using spreading the word and get Jester just start talking about the Traveler enough, get 10 counters, and then I win.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely solid plan. Are there any cards or any kind of strategy you're not looking for in the deck?
Not too much. I think biggest most recent thing is going to be rage counters, because that has coming off the tail ends of Heroes of Exandria. That was tied into multiple different characters and is a bigger aspect of things. I would like to see people reach back to My Hero cards, but like Rebby mentioned, there's Tasty Riff, the applause counters, Jiro's base, I'm a Hero too, and stuff of that nature. It will be interesting to see how far they spread into the variants and what they can utilize. If they just stick to, okay, well, this is my only counter I'm going to be relying upon, be a little sad about it. I want to see at least 2 to be used if possible, 2 different types.
Man, I think deck building in our game is so vastly interesting, and there's infinite amount of ways to create a character, create a deck. It's hard to get the ick when someone has like a pure, like from heart masterpiece that they create. But if I had to pick something, I do think I am a little about mushroom counters. I think they're like fine. I think what is available for them might not be enough to really push through to finish what Snuggy is asking. I'm definitely leaning a lot more towards like the other type of counters, the ones that are way more populous and will have more end effect.
Let's go dive in on the bakers, see how their build's coming. You guys can ask some questions and see how it's going on. Hello, Marvin. So how is your build coming?
Pretty good. We have our attack lineup almost complete here, probably complete here, honestly. So now we're going to look at some actions, assets, and backup, see if there's anything there that we like, and then finalize it with the foundations. We even did the counter thing. We got some counters going, Horn Dash Hammer, the classic.
Of course, Horn Dash Hammer.
Dude, you have to. If all 3 of these decks don't have Horn Dash Hammer in it, I'm going to be really upset.
No, that is the default one. Whenever I was thinking about it, and that was the one instantly. I'm like, yeah, I expect everybody to be running it.
Absolutely, they
1,000,000%.
should.
So you're going for a fire as your primary symbol as opposed to all or water.
Yes, yep, fire because of the muscle bash, the muscular fortif. You can, if you have counters, you can draw more cards. You can remove counters to draw more cards. So this guy was kind of like the pinnacle of where I started with the deck, and then kind of went wild with the attuned cards.
Well, my question is how are you? Is counters going to be a huge utilization of your game?
For sure. I both want, obviously I want counters for like stats, you know. I want one of my main cards that I just added is like Besiege, because I'd like to play this as like, you know, like your 5th move of the turn for 1,000,000 stats. But I also want to be able to utilize those counters like with Bursting Muscle Bash to be able to like spin them to draw more cards into more attacks that we can then gain counters with. We get to utilize Break In to drive and re-ready our character.
I'm excited to see what you come up with this, because Bursting Muscle Bash, I think, is definitely interesting in this, tying everything to fire. Does make me question what else you're going to include revolving around muscular, because I know there is some other juicy stuff that you could toss in there. So
Definitely.
look forward to it.
Hell yeah.
Since we'll let you get on with your build, and we'll see you in 19 minutes.
You know it. I'll see you guys in round 2 after I win this.
That's right.
Good luck, Marvin.
Hello, Chris. How is your build coming?
Hi, how's it going, judges?
Oh,
Yeah, I'm on air.
And what drew you to air?
Well, it was either fire or air, because Horn Dash Hammer is the only. There are some other counter cards that you could use, but this kind of goes, in my opinion, best in this style of deck, because I'm going to play like latent skills. I'm going to be playing stuff that discard cards from my hand as costs, effects. So we play these, we can get extra damage, which obviously at a certain point Jamie doesn't like lack, because eventually he's just going to get 1,000,000 damage. I don't know if I'm going to work Kokosho in here for off-turn counters, because there is a way that if we attack on our rival's turn, we can add a drink counter. So I haven't decided yet if I wanted to add a couple Kokoshos yet. It does fall in line with my high attack package, and I think that we can just we zone flood them, and then just have really good tech pieces to lead into our Falling Skies or even our Aerial Goblin Bolts, where 4/4 really well, right? Like at the end of a string, a 7/7 is nothing to scoff at. So the only problem I have with it is that I want to play Frog. I really want to play Frog Hop in the deck, because then he's committed, so you get stats, but then you kind of get one back if it hits. So he's kind of doing his breakdancing moves. So it's more of like a flavor thing than it is like a actually good deck, in my opinion. So that's just why I had to cut it. I started out with 44 attacks. That's yeah. So yeah.
I will say I appreciate the flavor towards the more capoeira style tie-in. That's awesome. That is great.
I think that if I want to add it, I think we may have to go down a couple pieces on Kraken, and maybe like a Falling Skies. I think if we play 3 Frog Hops, I think we can make it work with cut a Falling Skies and cut a Kraken and just play 22 attacks. I think that's what I'm going to end up doing, because I actually really want the flavor to come through with this, with the flavor feel. And I think that would be a really cool piece, because also it's a secondary kill con in him anyways, because if you have 4 counters on him, it's an 8 high for 9, a 10 high for 11. If you play it as your first move, and it's like, here, deal with it, and then if it hits, you just get another one back. So you could play, you don't have to play max copies. So you could play a lower, like a 2 to 3 count. I think 3 might be where we're sitting at, just because of the difficulty curve right now. I only have 8. I only have 8 5 diffs, so I could play a couple more 5 diffs in the mix. So I think that's where I'm going to land. And then I ended up with Lunar Ring in the board, because it's an all-around great attack. We don't destroy on face or anywhere else, so I just think it's a really good tech piece. So
one of my questions is, what do you see the benefit in your Violet Amethyst shot in this deck?
That's a good question. But with, let's just say, assume we're on average, we're 2/2 on Jamie. It's a 6 high for 7 that are rival. You don't have to hit the blitz. Like, it's it hand rips from our rival, and if we have any relevant like enhances, we can play those to pump the attack up. Or if we need to, say we're going into a deck that has backups, we're able just to rip the 4 high for 5, draw a card, because the deck technically, as of right now, only has one draw outlet on attacks, which is Electric Moth. So it does give us a wee bit of card draw, and it also can double up as a hand rip piece as we're going to string out. We don't have to hit the blitz button.
I love that explanation. Thank you.
No, Revy stole my question. I was interested to see why Violent Animus Shot was in there, but that's a great reasoning. Can appreciate the hell out of this. It looks great. I'm looking forward to seeing how it does.
Hell yeah! Thank you.
Hello, Richard. How is your build?
Hello. What's up? Sorry.
How's your build coming?
Going fantastic. So we're going all in. We're doing all the counters. So we're doing drink counters, we're doing mushroom counters, we're doing applause counters, we're doing rage counters. So we're going to have 17 different types of counters on our character, and we're going to confuse everyone. That's my plan.
Yes, I love it. I love it.
I think I've got my attack lineup sorted, and I'm just getting my my options for my sort of foundations, assets, ally, and actions. So yeah, obviously we'll have Juris base, get some more applause counters. Big knocks because he's a brawler and I love a big knock. So yeah, we're just working through our foundations at the moment, working out what we want to do, and then we'll cut them down. Sadly, I couldn't play I Would Like to Rage because we've got to play it on water to get the maximum amount. I tried to get muscle counters on there, but again, unfortunately, from a symbol perspective, we couldn't quite get muscle counters as well.
I think muscle counters is the only one. You took everything else possible, it looks like.
Yeah, we've got everything. So yeah, we've got, like I said, drink counters, we've got mushroom, we've got applause, and then we can generate rage counters. We've got a couple of foundations that does that, so we got a couple of ones that use them. And then obviously we're doing loads of counters. We've got to play tasty ref rate.
I saw you tossing and spreading the word.
Yeah, we've got to have a bit of pamphlet counters. I mean, we can't add them to our stage, but you know, the more counters, the better.
Amazing.
So yeah, that's where we are at the moment. We're just, like I say, working through foundations, which one we actually want. Unfortunately, a lot of the Jamie stuff is all about kicks, and because we're not really playing a tribal deck in terms of our attack type. Yeah, so we're just, like I say, working through our foundations, working what we want.
No, it's looking great. I'm happy to see that people are taking the theme and absolutely running with it.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
There are a lot of different counter types, which I'm really excited about. Is there a main kill method in this deck yet?
That's a question.
And no one's an okay answer. You still have so much time left to figure that out.
Yeah.
I was just looking through and I was like I'm trying to turn the gears along with it and see what's really happening. So I wanted to see if you had thoughts that I didn't see quite yet.
No, I didn't really. Honestly, the entire point was just to generate the counters. Winning the game is a secondary purpose of this deck, to be honest.
Love it.
Well, we'll leave you to it.
Best
So
of luck.
we'll
Thank
see
you.
then. So 3 very interesting builds, all on different symbols, all with different motifs and art modus operandi. Snuggy, how are you feeling about how the bakers have captured your vision?
Oh man, it is interesting to see how exactly everyone is taking it and approaching how they're going to actually handle not only the counters themselves, but how they're going to tie that all into making sure that they're being utilized correctly, making sure that they have enough corresponding foundations attacks. We didn't see anybody using backups at all yet, which perfectly fine with. It is great to see that everyone has tackled all sides of the character, because we have everybody playing different symbols. We have all different types of cards being included, and like we just saw, Muscular was going to be tied into Richard's deck, but couldn't. And then we saw it is being included in somewhere else, but because Marvin's playing on fire, able to include it in there. So there is such a wide gamut of how all 3 of the bakers decided to tackle this. It's amazing.
Is there anything that's caught you off guard or been useful, like has someone taken an approach to this that you hadn't expected?
There were 1 or 2 foundations in there that I caught really quick that I didn't actually necessarily think of being utilized in the deck. Didn't really go into it having much of an expectation. I wanted to see what kind of ideas and crafting the bakers could do. Just mainly throwing something at them that is a bit off the wall and seeing what they come up with.
I think it's so cool and unique that every single deck was its own thing. They were all on their own symbols, and no deck was similar to the one previous, which kind of also expands in the infinite ways to play a character. I think it's really unique how Marvin so far is using the counters as an offense-defense measure, that Chris is currently using the counters on face along with Horndash Hammer and really pushing into cards that are more meta-centric. And the whole counters is not the whole idea of the deck, but it is included and emphasized. And then there's, of course, Richard, who has every single counter known to man in his deck, which is really cool and unique. I'm really excited that they're all unique game plans. They're all really super cool.
What's your priority with this Snuggie? Are you looking for someone that's utilizing counters in a competitive way to win, or someone that's throwing counters at you and going, I'll hopefully win, but here, take counters?
I mean, it's kind of a mixed match, right? You know, the requirements that I gave them were, hey, use counters, get them, use them, however you wish to do so. It was competitive, was an ask, but I think it was more secondary, at least the way that I phrase things. Of course, I would love to see the decks that they build be more competitive and more viable to actually pick up and play. But I think it's better to see how they have taken the theme and balanced it against it just not being, hey, here's a counter meme deck, but here's a counter deck that you can actually take and go to locals, not get be absolutely smashed. You actually go there and are having a good time playing and actually competing against other players.
Hello, bakers. You are back in the lobby. Have you used your time wisely?
No. There's no way. I have 105 cards in my deck. I have not done.
Shall we go down in table number and we'll take a look at Marvin's first? This is your Fire Jamie Sue build. Yeah. So talk us through it and how you met the design brief.
Snuggie said that they had picked this character because they really like fighting games and they really like that the character drinks. I'm a drinking man myself, so I get it. So that was like the main focus. He said to focus on extra counters as well, which I really wanted to implement. So we have, like we had said, the Horndash Hammer, the Bursting Muscle Bash to draw more cards if we need them. And then the rest of the deck is just to try to be aggressive with the attack lineup, running this 3-diff Besiege to give it 1,000,000 stats with all of our counters. Lethal Slash that draws and removes itself from the card pool to clear our card pool to play more of these attacks. We have a Military Airship. This can be pretty great to just grab, another Bursting Muscle Bash, play it again. This is just like a little cheeky one of. Our only defensive option is really Barrier Shield. I really want to, as the 7-hander, I want to just be able to breaker to my opponent, tell them to end their turn, have another turn. As we go into the foundations here, we have some of the new cards. The Guardian Angel of Chinatown is really good to make our opponent not be able to reduce our damage. We have Young Boss of Chinatown because it's a 1-diff that features our character on it. Battle Preparations is to pick up more of these 4-diffs. Again, a very, very aggressively built deck. Capture the target to re-ready foundations as we're playing more cards. I may have thrown here because we did say we love drunken fighting, and we have another drunken fighter in our card game. So both of his cards are featured here.
Nice.
I had to. It may be a throw. It's a low block, so it'll do the thing. This guy's actually kind of interesting because we can discard a card defensively for -2 damage. We're a 7-hander that's drawing 1,000,000 cards. So if Breaker 2 doesn't stop them, maybe -2 damage, all of their moves will. And then we have just a little bit more defense in Desperate Struggle and Moment of Normalcy.
I think this deck is really neat and interesting. I really like it has a big emphasis on being aggro very quickly and overwhelming your opponent. It has those neat techniques of defense like Barrier Shield, and I think Desperate Struggle in today's meta is a really important card and really a staple that should be in decks that can run it to really outwit your opponent's speed or damage. I think there's a lot of card draw in this, which I'm very interested in. What benefits do you think that has being a 7-hander already? What's the benefit in having so much draw power?
Just being able to like see all of your options immediately, right? If we play like one of the 4 diffs that draw, we trigger all of our draw effects. We end up with like maybe 8, 9 cards in hand, and we can really decide how that turn's going to go. Whether our hand is as aggressively pilled as we want it to be, or maybe we can just like build 5 net foundations and pass, and then have like a really good turn 3, and be able to like find our barrier shields early, be able to defend like that. And sometimes we'll just draw 4 of our besieges and just kill them, right? Like
100%.
It looks really good. I'm liking that you included different types of counters in there, but also you threw in some of the newer Street Fighter cards just to give it a little bit of flavor. I also didn't even think about there being another character that is a drunken fighter.
yeah.
In Yu Yu Hakusho. So it's great to see you include that. And like Rebby said, having some of the staples in there as far as what is, viable and utilized consistently throughout competitive decks today. Desperate Struggle, Lethal Slash, Besiege. I expected Horn Dash Hammer to be in almost every deck today if you are going to play a symbol that could run it. So not surprised there. Breaking is awesome that you're including it. Military Airship becoming a staple, it seems, in every deck ever since it came out. And Barrier Shield never was even on my radar as something that you were going to utilize in order to have some defensive posture in there. So great job.
Awesome. And last one to ask is, what's the name of your deck?
Okay, so this one I went a little freaking boring with. I tried to come up with something, but I had 45 seconds left, so I just did my normal full character name on the fire symbol. I concluded the fire symbol though, so that way anybody looking at this can immediately know what they're looking at. I'm just saying.
Well, we appreciate that. We'll let you close your stream off, and we'll move over to Chris Smith, and we'll see what they have prepared for us. Hello, Chris. You're building around the air symbol?
Yes, the air symbol.
And yeah, so talk us through this beast of a deck.
Okay, so thank you, Marvin, for once you're the real MVP for discussing every single interaction in your deck. I appreciate you. So, this is an air variant based off of the high flying break dancing Mama Jamma Jamie Sue. We're playing an all high attack lineup. Obviously, like Nuggy said before, Horn Dash Hammer, instant include. I did not include break-in because I have a different take on it. My deck is not as aggressive as Marvin's. It's more of a put you on a timer type deck. So we got the Animus Shot to deal with the backups if we need to. Plus we just put stats on it and it just rips a card from our rival's hand, which is insane. Plus it's a breaker block, which we love. Falling Skies, every pony player in the chat knows that this card is amazing in a character that can just slap stats on it. Gives us guaranteed damage if we need it. We got Kraken to take care of pieces, Goblin Bolt to take care of more pieces. We want to draw. We love to draw. We love drawing. Electric Moth, we love to draw. My one cool flavor piece, I talked to the judges about this during prelims, is Frog Hop. Our character's committed, so we get an additional 1/1, and we slap stats on this baby. We're picking up other copies, so we're like break dancing all across that dance floor into our rival's face. We stack 4/4 on this, even 3/3 on this. We're connecting. Plus it has EX2 on it. It's just a little flavor piece to kind of get that, the rhythm down, as the kids would say nowadays. So, Action Hate Premium. I did include Air Force Gloves. We are playing a couple charges, Also gives a little deadlock pressure to draw some extra cards. It may not, it's a one of, we may not see it. I hate playing one of assets, and I don't know, man. I think Military Airship is just played to all hell, and it's super easy to counter. So I don't know. I just thought that this would be a better piece because we want to tap down our rival's board. Maybe get a little bit of fake stun in there. Filled with Doubt, we're a 7-hander. We can pocket it. We don't hurt as much pocketing actions as like a 6-hander or a 5-hander will. Our defense is mostly in the foundations. We got Jin's Parry for some easy blocking. We get to partial block a thing, gain some health. We love Warm and Bubbly. Also, air zero diffs. They're horrible. They're so bad. Guardian Angel of Chinatown, we don't want our stuff to be DR'd into the ground. We want ways to deal with 9 Titans. We want ways to deal with stuff in the meta. This helps us. Young Boss of Chinatown, obviously, hey man, we're gonna pass a check. We're get to ready it. Rivals combat phase, card draw, momentum hate, which is a premium nowadays, or card draw. We also get to play this really cool card out of Froppy 3's kit. We're gonna commit our guy. Free speed is free speed, baby. And no one plays Deception Dagger anymore, so we don't have to worry about the 4 speed giving it to anybody. So I like this a lot. Nedre-chan for some deadlock outs, extra damage, extra health gain, because we are a 7-hander. Having some health would be nice. Moment of normalcies, no surprise. Tustu's crew, hand filtering is really good. We want to make sure we have the correct blocks or dig for more attacks. Mikasa, we don't take damage. We're 7-hander. We're squish. Rifle Arm is one of my favorite 2-way cards. 3 speed or -3 speed if it's our first attack. I like these modal type cards. As my buddy Zachary Richards would say, we love modal cards that are good on both turns. Latent skill, we want to draw. Just don't walk into a cancel. Machos for canceling enhances. Quick response. This may be the scariest deadlock pressure in the game currently. Being able to play an all highs deck and then immediately swap to low if our rival's in deadlock, or also we're just going to put 2 speed on all of our moves. And that means normally late game it's going to hit because our rival could be tapped out. They could have tried to kill us and they whiffed. Speaking of that, Incompatible Quirks is a free check, free ready. Same thing with Dedicate Your Heart. I loved being able to re-ready things. Or, hey, you know what? Maybe we can just loop frog hops the entire time. And we can just clear a frog hop, play a frog hop, get the frog hop back, and then play the frog hop again. And then Childlike Appearance is just some defense. And, we got to have resets in this format. You just have to. Sideboard is just nothing but a bunch of tech pieces that I like to play in 7-handers. Lunar Ring, more filled, capes, more Genkais, Momentum Hate, Cheerleader, and another Childlike. So it's more of a mid-rangey, in-your-face, eventually I'm going to kill you, so you better play a solid game. And then again, I just like playing, I'm not an aggressive type player, so I like playing those mid-rangey to late-game style decks.
No, it makes a lot of sense, and you obviously put a lot of thought into these decks, despite having to make some quick cuts.
Captures the essence of what I was asking for. I am happy, Chris, that you were able to include Frog Hop in there that we discussed during the prelim discussion. And I was telling the judges earlier, you really surprised me as far as some of the attacks that you were including in there and how you tied everything together. Air Force Gloves is an off-the-wall pick for me and actually fits well within it, I feel. And I love me some Genkai's Guidance. You including Filled with Doubt, I actually called it out just before we started judging. I was interested to see if anybody was going to include it in there because it seems like the auto-include for most every deck nowadays. You being a 7-hander, it makes perfect sense to at least have 1 or 2 in there. You have a widespread, diverse foundation package, and that I can truly appreciate. Not only just trying to pull from what is more modern, but also looking at things that will give you the ability to be versatile whenever you're playing.
Of course, I always love the inclusion of a Falling Skies as a Choco 4 girly. It's my staple card to always look at. I really appreciate the defense of this deck. I think this deck is doing exactly what you explained, that this isn't going to kill you on turn 2 or 3, but it's going to wait you out and stall you out, and it's going to take you by surprise. There are those defensive tactics everywhere in your actions, in your assets, in your attacks, even with like Aerial Goblin Bolt, and all your foundations really have their own vast way of protecting your character for being such a small hand size. So I really do appreciate that. And then there is a lot of offense, mostly a lot with Jamie face, along with a lot of those attacks as well.
Let's see if Richard can follow through and make this a 3-for-3 on impressing the judges. So we're here with Richard, who's got the third baker. You've gone with the water, the last of the 3 symbols that are available by Jamie. So talk us through your list.
So these other 2 jabronis, they've made decks that, can win games. That wasn't my plan. I want to send a message. We're going to get as many different type of counters as we can on our character. So we've got break-in to get our extra drink counters, obviously. But then we're going to have an hero 2, which will just, again, double another character. And then we're going to start getting some applause counters if they start blocking our rent back downs. We're going to get some mushroom counters to our split go lunge strike. We've got tasty riff that, will get us some applause counters and also help us build through. And then Zealot's Advance that uses rage counters. Who knows where we might get those from? We'll have to look at those later. I'm only upset that I couldn't get muscle counters in here as well, but, we may do. So yeah, that's our attack package. It is literally just everything that generates a counter. We've got a little kind of charge package going on here, which we'll see later. Zealot's Advance, just, we're going to have some use to those rage counters we're going to generate somehow. So yeah, we've got Jiro's Base, another way of generating applause counters. A Big Nux, because Jamie is a brawler, and I love a Big Nux. So that's just a bit of a pet card for me. And an item box, you always have a little bit of defense, and always try and fit a single one on the water symbol. The good water symbol actions, filled with doubt. Everyone said it's why it goes there because it's just dumb, and everyone's going to play probably at least one copy. And Jury's a really nice one-off to having a graveyard to pick up with Tasty Riff. And then our foundations. So just some reasonable water zeros. We want to play a decent amount of them because we're playing Tasty Riff. So surprising skill, syndicate target, Tuskin, just to have a little block spread. Flustered is just an excellent card if you could support it. We've got enough charges that we can. So we are. Sulfur Rendition generates some more applause counters. Fast Friendship, one of the best defensive foundations on spam. Capture the target, just a couple of little low blocks, and that's probably the one of the few ways we're going to kill someone is by flinging enough attacks that we somehow get through. So just a way of helping that. Stoic Enmity, it's a 6 check that generates us some rage counters. We want those rage counters somewhere. Again, Unrelenting Brute, a little bit of anti-DR that also somehow generates a counter. Broken Psyche, this is going to be our opponents when they look at our character with 17 different counters on them. Dance Routine, again, actually quite a nice little foundation. I've always got a bit of a soft spot for our dance routine, and also we're playing a reasonable amount of charges. Masho is a little one-of. Again, I quite like having little tech one-offs in a Tasty Rift deck. Spreading the word, we want to share the love with our opponents. We've got to give them some counters too. So this is our other way of winning, is just generating pamphlet counters on their stage. Erin Sidestep, just one of my favorite defensive pieces. Tusk Tooth Crew, again, a foundation I really love, especially if you can use that response, which we can. Moment of Normalcy, similar to Filled with Doubt, it's just a one of every deck. I hate them. And Unyielding Rage. So yeah, another thing that will ready itself because we're going to generate those rage counters, and if not, another way of generating them, spending momentum. But yeah, we're just going to generate enough counters and everything on our foundations, our character, on our opponent's foundations, that eventually just give up, and that's our win condition.
So you heard I want counters, you went I'm going to throw as many counters as I can at you, and you built a deck on that.
I will come out of the gate and say spreading the word is not legal in this deck.
What? Oh no.
I saw it,
Gosh,
and
damn.
as we were leaving earlier and we went back into the room, I said, oh no, I caught it as we left.
Yeah, because I started off added, and I went through the attacks and made sure they were on symbol, and I forgot the bloody foundations.
Which doesn't help because you have such a big sideboard, so then the legacy will never look green to you.
Yeah, because I usually, whenever I cut stuff, I just put it to the sideboard.
No, you're so good. I think this deck is a million counters and more. I am a big fan of Tasty Rift. I do enjoy the defense in this. There's really it's really big counters. My first note, I've been writing notes for all these, and my first note went, oh God, so many counters. That was the first note I wrote about this. So it really fulfilled that mission. I really like the gameplay, the idea that it has, and yeah, overall, yeah. And then I noticed the spreading the word and got really sad instantly. So
yeah, that's made me sad. I feel like I've just thrown it all away. I
love this. I love that you heard counters and you're just off to the races with it. Titanstone Knuckles, I really do appreciate being in there. And it was interesting to see you take things from all different aspects that you were able to do, cover the entire wide gamut of different counters that exist throughout the game currently. Stoic Enmity, I'm happy to see in there because that is one of the most recent regional promos that I've been looking for a place to play anywhere, and it being in there, awesome, amazing. Broken Psyche made me laugh because I didn't even think about that being played in this style of deck, but the way you described it, yes, I would look at sitting across from this deck and seeing the amount of counters that you have on your stage going, yeah, I don't know what's happening anymore. I will say, in my mind at least, because it's sticking on theme in my mind at least, I'm mentally swapping out spreading the word with breakdancing, because it's 2/5 and 3 mid block, and it will fit the theme. So I'm just doing that mentally, and because Rebby
It would
was
probably be Fungus Among Us. That would be what I'd add.
well, okay, there you go. Works perfect. I was
Good
just
work,
happy
Rebby.
it was being included. So Rebby, good catch. Yeah, I love it. I love what you did with everything. It also has a lot of mechanics and cards that are tying together that I personally have never messed around with. So great job.
Right, so that's the 3 builds. Last thing to ask, we saw that, I forgot to ask Chris, but I believe your deck name was GBO Round 1.
Oh, it's called Breakdance and Fighting Man.
And your deck is called
Counterpalooza.
Counterpalooza.
That's a great name. That's a
Nice.
great
We
name.
will
Very good
tie
name.
you to the judging table at the bottom. We'll let you guys chat and meme and complain about stuff together. Right, so
There we go.
the big question I'll ask you guys before we get into anything. What's going to happen with Richard and the illegal deck?
I think his intentions were pure. I don't think it was malicious in any way, so I'm not really counting it against him, in my opinion. I don't know how you guys are feeling, but
I'm fine with it. Every once in a while, you toss pepper into the ingredients you're not meaning to. You know,
Yeah.
I made a suggestion for a different ingredient, and instantly he goes, "No, I would have used this instead." We were able to see within his sideboard, he had so many cards that he was going back and forth with. So he was
Yep.
really making an effort to try to live up to the deck name of Counterpalooza. So, like I said, mentally, I've already swapped it out with something else.
100%. And like, there's instant regret, right? Like, oh shoot, I didn't realize I was putting too much stuff at once, and it was all towards the game plan, right? This Counterpalooza, living up to the name. So I'm cool just admitting that it happened.
And 30 minutes is not a lot of time, as we saw with Chris. So it does make sense that mistakes will happen. But you guys are the judges, so it's up to you how strict or lenient you want to be.
I'm cool and chill and lenient.
Yeah, I'm good with going lenient.
Right,
So, Rebby, since this was not your deck choice initial challenge, what do you think about the parameters of the challenge and the decks that you saw?
I think it was very interesting that each person heard what you said and took it a different way. One person heard counters and really ran with that. One person heard counters and aggression, really ran with that. And then there's the mid range as well. And so it was very interesting seeing how they all came up, and that they were all actually extremely different. And I have such different notes for all of them that I was like, oh, I wasn't expecting this much difference.
I'm kind of right there with you. I am extremely happy and surprised, and just flabbergasted that I chose a character. We had 3 competitors, and each competitor picked a different symbol to build on.
Yep, I love
And-
that. That was cool.
It's amazing, especially because I really haven't played much water decks in the past. So being able to see like how that all ties and integrates, especially since attune cards are becoming so prevalent now that we've got past Attack on Titan's introduction of them. You do see a lot of staple cards that come out across different symbols, but seeing more focused water cards in Richard's deck, it was great seeing things that I never even would have considered with regard to this character.
It's a toss-up for me.
Yeah, it's a toss-up for me as well.
I would love if we could talk about our thoughts on each deck now that like we don't have the baker in front of us.
Yeah.
A little bit more in depth, if that's okay.
Yeah, go for
Because
it.
there are some points that I think are important to discuss, but I don't think have to be in front of the bakers. I want to start off with Marvin. I think Marvin had a really clean plan with what he was doing. It felt very, it felt like a big like, oh, okay, well this is a deck that I'm gonna shove into like the competitive space. Clean 60 card deck. I noticed it was straight 60. I had a lot of fears of his defense. It was doing a lot of aggro. He had 3 cards that were defensive. And it just, that worries me for being a 7-hander. If you can't get one of those cards out, you're going to get smacked. And 22 is not a lot in this current meta. What do you think, Snuggie? How did you feel about Marvin's deck?
Marvin's deck is very much, because he is the pony runner. I have been very much so as well. It is very much a pony flavored deck. It is. I have 7 cards in my hand. I will get more cards in my hand, and I will smack you around, clear my card pool, and keep going. Horndash Hammer is always and forever going to be good in pony, and you will never convince me otherwise. But it is very much fitting to what most modern meta decks are trying to do. High aggression, I'm going to throw everything at you, and hopefully it all hits on the same turn and takes you out. I did catch as well. Straight 60, which as a 7-hander, I've never been able to pull off in the past because, like playing pony as the example, I'm churning through cards so quickly that only having 60, I'm going to end up cycling very quickly. But it is a deck that I could just scrape together now, pick up, go play, and it would seem like any other normal deck in most decks that you would see today.
When I took a look, I don't have the deck in front of me, of course. I think the only counters in that deck are drink counters. Because that muscular card is just removing a counter to draw a card.
Double overhand?
It is the bursting muscle bash. It says if you have 3 more
Bursting
counters on
muscle.
your character, draw a card.
Yeah.
You may remove 1 counter from your character to draw a card.
You're right.
So
You're right.
there was the element of you wanted a bunch of counters, and there was 1, right? There was only drink counters, but he was utilizing them in a unique way that it didn't feel bad for his character to max out on the 4 that are buffing his stats, which I liked. So
Yeah, that's great. Again, Remy with the great catches here of just not having more than one type of counter, but having multiple ways of utilizing that counter, which when Jamie is kind of anti-synergistic because he needs those counters to utilize his ability, and with it being such a fast aggressive deck, if you get above 4 counters, your opponent's probably dead in Marvin's deck. So are you really looking to utilize those counters in that way?
let's go over Chris's. What do you think, Snuggie? What were your highs and lows of his deck? Haha, highs. Continue.
highs and lows. Is what you did there. Marvin's was more hyper aggro. Chris's was mid range. He did call out, and he did take into consideration a lot of the defensive aspects that we would have in a competitive or semi-competitive deck. He took interesting direction as far as including some of the staples in there that we talked about before. What you would see in most decks as far as attack package wise, it being a mono high is awesome. Lots of fun with that in the past. Still continue to have fun with it. But he did make sure to try to stick to not only the parameters of the actual deck that I requested, but also kept it thematic to the character as well. And that's something that I appreciated, that he not only discussed but did eventually end up including. You know, if we are talking about which out of the three came together the most, I think Chris's deck is probably my favorite out of the three.
Yeah, and I think that his deck presented the mid-range. I know Chris has been playing a lot of Rodan recently, which I think helps inspire bringing a more mid-range deck to the table. I am a personal enjoyer of an all highs deck. I think when it's not expected, when you don't put a Choco 4 on the table, say I'm playing a Choco 4, no one's expecting an all highs deck from you. So there is a really uniqueness to that. I think that it's gonna kill you. And because of the long game plan tactic that it has, those deadlock threats that he had on board are more viable and actually made more sense. That, okay, I'm Jamie. I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna build a million counters. I'm gonna block everything. Nothing's gonna deal damage. You're gonna have to deal with me now. Oh, okay, well now I've sculpted my hand exactly the way I want it. I'm gonna kill you with like 4 attacks. And it's gonna be a falling skies at the end and you're gonna feel bad. I again saw that it was only drink counters, so I was like, "Aw, sad about that." But I think he had a lot of hand filter, big defense. He was I think it was a really cool deck as well.
Another great catch on only having the drink counters. When we were doing the pre-judging, you did say a minimum of 2 was kind of what you were looking for. But in terms of
I feel so nitpicky.
In terms of the competitive side of things, Chris and Marvin got the other side of the brief down. It's just more they didn't utilize, as Richard did, throwing in every single type of counter.
Every counter possible. Yeah.
And let's talk about Richard's deck. And he got every single counter type he could in there.
Yeah, he included every single counter type that he could based on the symbols. Even throwing counters in there that he couldn't.
Exactly.
But it goes to show exactly what he took away from the brief. Much like Rebby said, we had 3 different pickers. I gave the brief. They took away 3 vastly different things from it. I love that he stuck so hard to, I'm going to put every single counter in there possible, and also had follow-ups with some, like Broken Psyche. He goes, yep, this is the card that this is the way my opponent is going to be looking at me whenever I have all these counters on the table. I would love to actually play Richard's deck because it looks like something that fits in well with locals, like weekly locals, or even leading up to an LC, and something that you take and just go and have a blast with and show people, that what we don't get to see a lot is there is a wide variety and plethora of decks that you can put together, and that not everything needs to be super sweaty. We can actually put decks together that are just intentionally based to go have fun and not immediately die. You still can play the game and still can win the game, but it is just to be there and have a lot of fun with it.
I really like the point that you brought up of this deck is fun. I think in our game, and I'm going to speak from the heart here, I think our game goes from beginner of I'm learning to play this game straight to, okay, every deck is a regionals deck. And that's disheartening, very hard to go to locals when you're learning the game and you have these cool ideas, and who cares that you do, because all the decks are meta, all the decks just kill you on turn 2. You don't get to try the cool unique ideas. So I think the balance, right, of how you said, okay, there's meta, but just because it's meta doesn't mean it's regionals level competitive. And bringing it down a notch to locals friendly scramble, as you said, because those are intended to be really cool open spaces for beginner players to really get to use their decks and really try out these cool tactics made by the designers. I think it totally threw that in there. I I really liked, and you caught it, and I didn't, and I was sad. He got to use the brawler keyword. I was so excited about that. With Titanstone Knuckles, I think that was really cool and unique that we're seeing keywords using those character traits in different sets. I was like taking it back a little bit when I first saw it. I was like, okay, that's a lot of counters. I'm not sure what the game plan is here. And then I sat and started looking at cards, and I went, okay, well, actually, if he does this, this is really cool. Or if he does this, this is really cool. And I really like that I could sit across the table from someone with this deck, and we're both laughing the whole time. I think I really love that he brought that type of flavor to this competition versus, oh, this is not a regionals deck, but this is going to be great anyways.
The kind of deck that you could, like you said, you can sit across from someone, you're both having fun, you're both having a laugh. Doesn't matter who wins or who loses. You've both played a good game and you've had a great time at locals, which is going to make new players want to come back and experience that again.
Yes.
But right, we've spoken about the 3 decks. You've delayed long enough. We need a decision of who's going home.
Oh, that's hard. That's hard. Okay.
That is a very hard call.
I think in the perspective of everything that you asked Snuggie and what we discussed in between, like talking to them and where we're at now, I think the correct answer for me would be Marvin. I think the other two were a lot more middle ranged in how the performance comes out in the quote terms meta, and also really dug into your ideas of what you were asking. And I think Marvin to a regionals and could top 50% with this. And I don't know if that was the true ask, even though I don't know. What do you think?
I love Marvin.
You gave me emotional ties to these people, and it's not okay.
Yeah, I love Marvin. Marvin's deck, I actually thoroughly, I was able to pull it up now. I actually thoroughly really do enjoy what he put together. And I actually might steal this to go throw it up against Wub and Ryan Levine and
Cool.
Calvin Tahan. Because, much like you said, Revy, it is very difficult going from beginner and learning to play the game and immediately jumping from that to, hey, you're playing against some of the top 50 people in the world. So yeah, I'm probably stealing Marvin's deck. Marvin, thank you for this deck. I'm going to use it. But in the spirit of things, I think we will have to send Marvin home and take forward Chris and Richard.
No, we all took half an hour to go have a drink or something. I mean, Richard's deck was illegal. It wasn't much of a talk. Welcome back, Bakers. The judges had a hell of a decision among them, and given that the time constraints and that it was quite quickly seen what Richard meant to put in the deck, it was essentially glossed over that the symbol was wrong, because we saw Richard's sideboard stopped him from being able to see it was a legacy deck. And Snuggie's just a really nice guy, and Revy's an absolutely great person as well. And they decided to be a bit more lenient with the rules, so that's why it took so long, because you all brought your own individual spice and take on this challenge, and it was not an easy choice for the judges. But I'm not breaking any hearts. I'm going to send over to Snuggie, who will tell you who is going home and who is moving on. Snuggie's
such a great guy, and now he's going to just piss one of y'all off. First off, amazing job to all 3 of you. It is fucking phenomenal that all 3 of you took not only each your own symbol, but each your own direction with what I said from the get-go. I would love playing with any one of these decks and having a good time with it. And I will say probably one of the decks that I am going to actually throw up against some of my locals, unfortunately, is the person that I'm going to be sending home. And Marvin, I love you, man, so much. But unfortunately, I'm going to have to send you.
Ah, damn it.
No way! Are you serious? Oh my gosh.
It was a hard choice. We sat and really talked about this. It was not easy to make a decision on this at all.
For what it's worth, I think if I ever played mine at locals, I still just would put the 4 pamphlet cards in there and hope nobody noticed.
And
sorry, but-
unfortunately,
Let's hear from Marvin. Let's hear from Marvin.
I was too cocky. I knew it. As soon as I said I was getting first place, I was like, I'm for sure getting cut. So no, that's fair. That's fair. I love you all still, Snuggy. You're the best. I'll never hate you for this. No, I'm just kidding. I hate you forever.
I know most people do. Marvin, let's face it. This is the only way I'm going to be the better pony player. So we have to cut you.
I'm super glad that I got to be a part of this great content.
no worries, Marvin.
Thank you so much.
I hope you had a lot of fun, and we'll look forward to having you back in the future for more content.
Absolutely, always.
Excellent work, buddy.
Baby.
Thanks,
Bye,
Marvin.
Right.
Love you.
Bye, guys. Love you guys. Bye.
Congratulations, Richard and Chris, on moving into the final round. It is not over yet, though. You've got another 30 minutes, you've got another challenge and another set of perimeters, and we'll hand it over to the amazing Rebby, who will give you their card and another build around that they want you to do.
Yeah, so I have not been able to decide what I want to bring to Louisville, and I don't want to spend the time to make this deck, so I'm gonna leave it in your hands. Hi, my name is Rebby Lynn, and my favorite character to play is Bowie. I would love a Bowie deck that would be suited to go to Louisville, that outputs the most damage possible and defends itself against unyielding destruction.
Okay.
Alright, so we're looking for a
All right.
competitive Bowie deck that you may have to face at Louisville, Chris,
Oh my god. Why? She's my teammate. I have to make a good deck.
that plays around unyielding destruction and has the most damage output. This is a very unique build, and I'm very glad we saved it for the finals. Richard, you don't have to worry about facing this, so you can go full ham and build something that will take Chris down.
I mean, that's the plan.
Hell yeah. Let's go, buddy. Good luck. Good luck.
I'll let you get back to
Good
your
luck.
tables. We'll start the new timer once
Alright.
you've both gone live, and we will join you in a second. Very interesting concept from you there, Rebby. So, big question is, will you actually be playing the winning deck list at Louisville?
It depends on how well it does. I think that the meta currently is very scary for Bowie in unyielding destruction specifically. I want to go into deadlock very quickly with face downs, and unyielding on their turn says, actually, you're back down to 4 and now all your cards are face down, because of course you flip them all. So you have nothing left, and now you have to recover and figure it out before I play another one. So if they find something that is fun and unique and actually answers that question, I'll consider it. I don't have an actual deck for Louisville yet, and I already have my Worlds points. I'm already in for Worlds. So the whole goal for my Louisville experience is I want to have fun. So I'm really fingers crossed when they find something for me.
Is there anything that you've already identified that Bowie should be running?
Yeah, so obviously there is the issues of being a 5-hander with Bowie. Your options on draw are quite limited. I think really bringing in staples that defend yourself are really important. The biggest one, honestly, is Team Dr. Ichigaki. Yes, I think that card is very important in Bowie. Being able to cancel that blitz is really important. I think there's a lot of things available in the current standard that will help answer those questions. But how do you answer those questions and be defensive as well? I would also like to see if they remember to include Street Fighter cards, because those will be legal. And one of the coolest cards we actually kind of looked at a little bit last round was Breaking. Breaking says that I get to ready my character who forms, and +X is my attack, which is huge damage output. And that's what I'm looking for. I want to see if someone notices that quick Louisville Street Fighter will be legal. Will they include Breaking in their deck?
And because it's a blitz, you can also go with something like Breaking, Welcome to Spaceland, because my character's then ready, so you got this massive unblockable attack and go, I'm going to do it again.
Exactly.
I would love to see that.
Chris Smith has had to play me when I've played Bowie in the past. And one of my favorite things to do as well is Irwin's Final Charge, blow up my entire stage, and then Welcome to Spaceland. So it's a million for a million unblockable. Good luck.
Rebby, you sneaky person. Goddamn, I'm glad I'm not going to Louisville. I would be so salty right now. No, Bowie, not surprised. I know Rebby loves some Bowie. I would make fun of her and get flack from her because I am a recovering Pokemon Shiny Hunter in content creation and just in general. And there is a meme in my community about Weasel. And Weasel says Bui, B-U-I. So I would call Bowie Bui all the time. And Rebby's given me crap for that in the past. I do think it's interesting, Rebby, what you brought up. Street Fighter will be legal. I'm interested as well to see how many people are actually going to include breaking in there. Any of the other Attune cards that will come from Street Fighter, we've already seen Guardian Angel of Chinatown. I'll be interested to see if somebody includes that as well. My question to you, Rebby Lynn, is what symbol are you thinking people are going to gravitate toward?
I think when people think of meta level, regional meta level decks, they are going to gravitate towards either the death symbol or the earth symbol. The water symbol, though, contains so much hidden text for Bowie that it is honestly his best symbol. And I can catch flack for that. I think water is his best symbol. I think his game plan is I need to play a million foundations in. I'm a 5-hander. And on the water symbol, so the last time I played him, I could get to 10 foundations on turn 2 of my rival's turn. I can slam right through, and once it's my turn, I form and I can kill you right away. Of course, because it is a Bowie specific card, you get enormous axe on water as well. So you play Bowie's Enhanced, you break a foundation, break enormous axe. There's 3 face downs already.
Hey, one card that I was thinking of because you were mentioning if you are going off of like Welcome to Spaceland style thing, Ecological Fighter, I think it is.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
The one that you get to flip and ready.
Flip in and ready the face down foundations. If we're saying like, okay, a common card people toss in that you don't want to see, let's see if anybody doesn't use Jawjammer.
Ooh.
That'd be really cool to not use
If they don't use Jawjammer, because that seems to be like the default if you're talking about water or death throw that everybody will toss and like put into the deck.
That's true too. I am really excited to see a really unique throw in Bowie that I have used in my Earth build is Berserker Bite. Coolest offense card ever. Just says, okay, breaker 1 for the turn. Sorry. And on my turn, it's a throw. And if I form with it, you're dead. I was just taking a quick look at like what my last Bowie list was, and I had some very fun ideas of Spirit Sword Ultimate and just canceling character abilities, committing all my foundations to make it even bigger. Irwin's Final Charge, of course, Colossus Swat to build in more face downs for that kill turn.
Since you specifically said you want to be playing around on Yielding Destruction, would things like blitz cancelling, like high speed dodge, get more points? Or as a 5-hander, would that be you're just getting greedy?
I think you're getting greedy. I think you need to find a plan on board. I think that's too easy of an ask, and I think as a 5-hander, you can't clog your hand with an action. You're gonna hold on to that for dear life for the moment that you're waiting for them to play it, and then you're stuck with it. And you're gonna be like, well, I don't want to get rid of it because I didn't put too many of this in here. But if it's something as easy as like Team Dr. Ichigaki, it is so much easier to just be like, I'll play this on the board, and then it is a waiting game of poker.
Since you mentioned Team Dr. Ichigaki, again, I'm thinking about assets. You think people are going to include a military police brigade?
That's a cool card. I used that card for a little bit. Oh, that card's so cool. For the viewers at home that don't know what that is,
it's a form flip 2 foundations, gain 3 health.
Yep. So cool. It does suck in the aspect that the cost is flipping the foundations, but flipping the foundations is also a great cost. So
yeah.
I really like that card. seeing it in play would be really cool and unique, especially because it's a infinity card, no symbol. So that would be really cool to see.
Let's go jump in on the table, see how the build's getting on. We've had a nice big breakdown. We'll start with Chris and see how Chris has been getting on.
Hi.
Hi.
This
How's
is
it going?
this is infinitely harder.
No, don't tell me that.
Oh no, but it's a good challenge though, because I think I found some stuff. I think I'm gonna go back and rework my attack package. How much time is left in the round?
Just over 17 minutes.
Okay, cool. Because I think I'm gonna do something a little different.
Ooh.
Let's bring Marvin back. Chris just said my challenge wasn't hard enough.
Oh no. I mean, the card quality is like just as good, and I want to do two different things. One, I'm thinking of right now. I have a standard. It wasn't nothing about how hard it is. It's the fact is I have a generic buoy package where it's like sweeping daggers, Colossus Swat, Earthbreaker, Irwin's Final Charge. You yeet them into the moon, right? But I was thinking, what if we play backups and we bring in 9 Titans and we go buoy, and then we go 9 Titans, and then they die. They don't have a reset, right? Like, and you have the defense, and like if they try to unyielding you, if you don't have your Unbreakable or your one filled with doubt or a way to deal with it, you're like, cool, man, I got minus 12 to 16 damage on board. Good luck, right? Like, there is something, I think that might be something worth exploring, but the issue is I don't know if I have enough time to go back and do it. So I'm thinking about it. I'm really thinking about it because I think I have it pretty. I have 73 cards, which isn't terrible. Which is like I'd probably cut like 5 to 6 more cards, and then we'd be good. But then I'm thinking about going back and reworking the deck, and I don't know if I have enough time. That's the issue. So, because one way to get rid of unyielding is if they keep replaying it, you just yeet them from their, if they check them or whatever, you just get rid of them, and you don't push the button. You don't have to. So you just get rid of them. But like obviously Unbreakable, probably the easiest answer other than Filled with Doubt. We don't like playing actions in our 5-hander, but we do play one. We do side more. This is probably the cleanest answer for buoy. Only problem is you have to hit them. We have to hit them. You have to get a momentum, and Death isn't the best at getting snap momentum sometimes. So it may be a challenge to get this card on board. I don't know. Maybe Earth has a different way of doing it, but also this is on Earth, so I don't know. But I did include some of the buoy staples, the military police brigade. You have Beneath the Armors to flip your cool military tactics. Hey, anybody? We love military tactics. Says, get wrecked, you spammers. And then we got some Beneath the Armors to flip that. We got Shape Changers to offensively flip them if we need to. So, and then, we can flip the I'm With Yous and we can flip I'm With You with Shape Changer, pop it with something somehow. I haven't gotten that far yet. We're still working on it.
Yeah, my question is how are you getting face downs?
So we have buoy to give us face downs, right? We also have some Colossal Swats. We have Shape Changer skills to flip things, and we also have defensive flip or offensive flip with Beneath the Armors. And then we can also get it with Always Cools. We do have a fair amount of flip costs in a lot of things. I love Tranquility of Death in this format because everyone wants to play like a billion cool cards. So you get to seal their cool cards, and they have to seal your Tranquilities, or they don't, or they don't have a stage.
I've got no questions. Good luck, Chris. Build the backup deck later. Force Rebby to play on my side of things.
No worries. Well, best of luck, and we'll catch
Thank you.
We'll catch you in another 12 and a half minutes.
Hell yeah. All right, cool. Thanks.
Hello, Richard.
Hello.
How is your build coming?
Louisville. Oh my god.
I mean, it's right there, right?
That's great. That's great.
Yeah, so we're going on Death. Feels like the obvious choice. Step one is stopping getting blown up. So we've got probably maybe 4 filled with Outs in main. I think we're probably. I don't know whether the cheeky one-off Spaceland's going to stay, but who doesn't love playing Welcome to Spaceland and Bury? I think I'm happy with my attack lineup. We're playing Break-In yet again because readying your character seems pretty good on Bury being able to do that, just to committing a foundation that we might then blow up anyway. So yeah, you like, oh, it's quite ready. But anyway, we'll just commit something. Radio characters we get to form twice on a turn. That seems pretty good. So yeah, and it's sort of a death lineup. So just a couple of throws, Battle Aura because it's Battle Aura and it's his card. Ripper Arrive seems quite a cool one. Just to carry forward some stats as well to sort of get the most damage we can. And Falling Hail Strike is always a good one. And then yeah, we're just looking at trimming cards now. We're at 72. We need to get that down. So it's just finding what we're going to be cutting, to be honest. And just some more answers to the if we're worried about basically getting unyielding all the time, then as many answers and things that sort of work with that as possible. So at this point, I'm sort of happy with where I am, and it's just cutting stuff at the moment and working out what I can and can't have. But trying to get that down to sort of a nice sort of 64-ish, 65.
Just
this isn't
admiring what's coming together.
This isn't like as crazy as the first build. This is actually more, I guess, maybe a little bit more serious. But
well, I hope it is serious. Rebby has to play it.
Exactly.
I do have one thing I want you to keep in mind. Please watch your symbols. I have already noticed one card that is not legal in a death deck.
What the shit? Oh, Spaceland. I just added it, assuming it was on symbol, and it's clearly not. Because in my head, it was a buoy card. It's just not a buoy card, is it?
It is a Cowboy Bebop card.
It's a Bebop card.
You can tell me she's been busy all day.
Yeah. I'm
Oh.
too hot to think.
I'm right there with you, Richard. Don't worry.
I just thought it was a buoy card.
I have 3 fans blowing on me right now.
I'm actually just going to spend 2 seconds checking that everything has a death symbol
Oh
in it.
no!
Yeah, that was it. Just because I was like, we got
Yeah,
added
that was
to
the only
space
one I
then.
saw. I like it coming together so far, and I'm really excited to see how this ends up.
Right, well, we'll see you back in the lobby in 8 minutes. And
8
we'll
minutes, sorry, 8 minutes.
Best
lobby
of luck.
and- But best of luck. How are we feeling after seeing the initial builds?
Rebby, you got 2 death decks.
I got I knew it. I knew it. Called it out earlier. They looking at them, they presented ideas that I have not thought about. And it has made me change my decision on what symbol is Bowie's best symbol.
Ooh.
It is now the Earth symbol, I think, is Bowie's best symbol. Unbreakable, I didn't realize cancels unyielding.
Yeah, I didn't realize that either until
didn't-
Chris said it, and I went, "Wait, hold on, what?"
I went, man, I don't think I've truly read this card. I think the reason I played it in a Bowie deck before, and I only played it because I was like, oh, Godzilla. And then I went, it says non-character, shucks. And so I just like omitted it from my brain. But that is really good information to know. I think the idea of outwit cards in Bowie is very unique.
I'm surprised no one's gone for Rini.
Yeah, I was gonna say similar because that is one that, and I don't know if I saw it, Desperate Struggle in either one of them, but
Richard
Rini, Rini and Desperate Struggle are like they are made together in heaven. Like if you are able to get both those on board, you can just go, okay, well, I cancel whatever you just did. Oh, okay, now next turn, first enhance Rini. Okay, I'm gonna get it back and then cancel whatever you did again.
Yeah, especially if you're looking at with like Chris's military tactics, we go, oh, you've played your third attack, bounce it back to your hand by the outwit, and then I'll flip that back face down to unflip my Desperate Struggle, and we'll do it all again next time.
Exactly.
I have concerns on both of them on how they're gonna present lethal damage in this current meta. They did not have a lot of filled face down cards in either of the decks.
Is there any builds that you're already leaning towards or that caught your eye a little bit more?
Chris's build has definitely caught my eye a little bit more in its offense as well as slight defense pieces as well. Looking over Richard's deck, I saw some cards that I don't think are beneficial for a 5-hander. One of them was discarding a card, which is 20% of my hand size is gone. Just to get a card out of my opponent's hand is not very worth it in a 5-hander that's trying to play 4 attacks. because then I don't have enough of a hand. I need to be able to block if I don't do it. Right. Buoy symbols, as I have stated previously, do not have a ton of draw power.
So we're back with the judging for the final round. Both bakers finished 5 minutes early, so hopefully
Wasn't late this time.
So hopefully all their decks are fully baked and nothing's ended up getting a bit of a soggy bottom and is only half baked. We'll start off with yourself, Chris. Snuggy is currently broken down because the soggy bottom to him is a completely different thing.
It was great being here, guys. Y'all have a good time. I gotta leave.
So yes, Chris, you've built Buoy on Death. Talk us through it.
Okay, so this is the Buoyville Throwdown, appropriately named. So, couple things. The things were high damage moves, and then protection from unyielding destruction. So, midway through my build, my cook, I was like, well, 9 Titans doubles all of our damage. Buoy puts a crap ton of damage. Well, what if we 9 Titans Buoy? And that just sounds crazy, right? I was halfway through my cook, and I didn't really want to go back, and I didn't have the time. Even though I did finish 5 minutes early, it probably would have taken me a lot longer, and I would have like 300 cards in the deck. So I went with a pretty, not cookie cutter build, but more of a traditional attack package for this character. Battle Order Release has his face on it. It accrues face downs. That's one thing we want to do, is accrue face downs on this character. I love sweeping daggers as a move. I know there's been a lot of hate on it because it's $100 million and it's really, really good. But you know what, kids? It's great. One way to get rid of your opponent's unyieldings is just to yeet them from their discard pile. You don't have to push the blitz button. Just yeet them. They can't get them back. Final Charge seems like a no-brainer. We kind of tap down, or we seal their moves. There was a card I probably should have added into my build, which was that Shoto card that flips to seal a thing, but we got the Star Eraser anyways. But this gives us huge, massive damage on a kill. Like after we Buoy form, we could use this after the attack that hits them, and then we just yeet our stage and we kill them. Earthbreaker is just a really good attack. Draw a card. If they have less, we're a 5-hander. We're probably going to have less to start when we play the move before we, do anything else. To draw a card, get some damage, get some stun in, just because we don't really pump stats over a lot of attacks. We just slam the big one. True 100. It's True 100, man. It adds stats. You add stats. People die. Colossal Swat allows you to get those top two extra cards in your stage for those face downs to pump for Buoy, which is pretty good. Sure, they go away, but we just yeet them to Irwin's Final Charge anyways, and it's no sweat. Military Police Brigade. This is some insider knowledge. Sorry, Richard, if you didn't know this, but I had fought this deck previously in a local championship. Rebby was playing this card. It actually worked really well. Commit, flip 2/1s. Like, you can flip your military tactics face down, or like your risky gambles face down, gain 3, get a little bit of health bump to bump up our 36 health to 39, which is fantastic. Star Razor, just a nice seal. Also, commit, if we get popped in the face, we make them play a non-attack card, or they burn 6, which sounds stupid, right? Like, you don't want to burn 6 against this guy. This guy throws double the triple-digit damage at you, right? That's what it feels like when he's swinging an Irwin's Final Charge with everything behind it. I traditionally don't like playing actions in a 5-hand size character unless they're like Byakko, where they can just, put them on top, draw them, put them on top, draw them. So we got 1x Filled with Doubt. A Filled with Doubt should be in almost every deck. At least at a 1x, it's really, really bad. I think it's really tough. One good thing about Buoy, though, is we do get to build an extra if we use his form. Right? It's his form is Enhance. My bad. Enhance. We get to build top 2. So if we go down we go down in Foundations, we can gain a couple back with that. So it's not terrible per se. It's usually you don't want to see this on turn 1. You're probably going to mulligan it away if you know they're not playing Unyielding, but they surprise. Almost every deck's going to play Unyielding, I think. In the Foundation base, we got some little bit of DR. I only went with 8 0 diffs. I wanted my Foundations to be more impactful as a 5-hand size character. You'll see that later as we go into the 2 diffs and the 3 diffs. We are playing 6 3 diffs on a 5-hand size character, so hopefully we don't get screwed. We got 2 risky gambles. I think this card's super good. It gives you some off-turn draw or on-turn draw if your rival wants to play into the fact that you have a risky gamble. Sometimes the only way to fight buoys to go into deadlock, you can just flip this, yeet their best defensive piece. You know, that's an idea. We got Guardian of Angel, the Angel Chinatown. This card's insane. I thought this card played differently. I didn't know it just said, no, you don't get to DR my move at all. So they try to DR your one move. They're not, sorry, man, nope, it's canceled. And you can't DR any of my moves. You know, whatever, man. It's crazy. Always cool. It helps you build. Turbo build early, helps you ramp. Also, it's some decent defense. Like if they want to try to start swinging for big chunks, you can keep it kind of tapped down. Beneath the Armor is there to flip our other, like our risky gambles and our military tactics for plus or minus damage. Weapon Clash has his face on it. We play it. Dark Ward's a very good card. Hey man, we don't want to be breakered. We don't want to be showdowned or whatever. We don't want our stuff to be, I guess Filled with Doubt doesn't work because it comes from hand. But unfortunately, there are some responsibilities that maybe we do want to cancel. Shape Changer skill. This is a little tiny piece of flip, just a flip package, just because we may not always have Beneath the Armor or ways to flip our stuff to turbo flip face down for buoy form. This also comes in play with military tactics. Probably our best piece of defense. We have 36 health. No one's gonna one-shot us from that, maybe outside of another buoy, right? Like it's really hard to do 36 to 39 if we have a military police brigade out. Their third move's gonna go back to their hand. And then if we get to flip this on their fourth move, you know, and somehow ready it, or we buoy off the top or whatever, we get lucky, we could just military tactics them into the ground. Moment of Normalcy, always a good card to have. I have one main, one side. And then really the creme de la creme of the unyielding defense is Unbreakable and Enormous Axe. I had to go back and see that I did not add Enormous Axe to the deck. Oh my god. I would instantly scoop and walk away if I didn't add this card into my deck. But Unbreakable says, hey man, sure man, I'm gonna have 5 foundations after you Unyielding, or I just straight up cancel it. And in the off hands that we do block, and it's off, we get to completely block something, which is nothing to scoff at. And then we got Enormous Axe, has a space on it. We get a 3-for-1 off of this card on his enhance, and it gives us a crap ton of damage. And Rebby said she wanted damage, and it's not buoy into 9 Titans damage, but it's kind of there, you know? But in the board, we got Torgro's Dominance. I really like this card. People playing that 1x military, sorry, dude, yeet, it's gone, right? Like, sure, they get to play the ability and get it, but it's gone. And then Disarming Glance for draw, more Dark Wards, more Filled with Doubts, Devastating Loss, because we hate assets and backups in this house. We always do. Another Moment of Normalcy, and I couldn't fit 2 more 3-diffs into the deck because I wanted to keep it as low as possible because we want to draw our combo pieces, right? We want to see our Beneath the Armors, our Always Cools, our Sweeping Daggers, our Earthbreakers, just so we can get some semblance of a turn. We want to churn fast, right? This is a fast meta, and I don't think we can play a long, like, I know my Jamie deck was like a mid to range. My previous deck was like a mid to long game. I don't think Bowie has I don't think 36 health is a lot, but Godzilla, that's 4 moves. So we kind of have to get our butt moving and rolling. So I had to put Desperate Struggle into the board to help with the damage and speed bumps. So that's pretty much it. Like I said, I really wanted to, like, if I had to go back, I would make this backup deck, and I think this would be the coolest thing, because we would just add Slam Duplicitous with 1,000,000 stats on it, and then add a 9 Titans on Blitz, and then be like, cool, dude, here's 37 damage. Catch. You know, like, it wouldn't be that much, but it'd be a lot. So, you know, but anywho, yes, that's all I got for you guys.
I truly forgot the true purpose of Unbreakable. So it felt very cool when you were like, previously, you're like, oh, Unbreakable's in here. I went, wait, that card does what? And I didn't even realize that. What is I guess my question is what is the added benefit of having Earthbreaker in here?
Earthbreaker, basically a 5 low for 5, and it kind of nets you a little bit of card draw early game. Sure, you're not gonna, maybe late game, it's not as good. It also says, hey man, if I pump stats on this and I stun you and maybe all your foundations are good, I get to blow one up. So maybe they don't have an answer for your stun, for your, say like you have like, +4/+4. So it's a 7 low for 9, stun 2 on turn 2 or 3, right? Like you get to target destroy something. Sure, you may get to draw the card, but again, it's only playing 18 attacks. So we're really just trying to get a good foundation base, and then go soften them up turn 2, and then really go in on turn 3. Is what the goal of the deck is. Maybe late game it loses a little bit of its luster, obviously, because a giant stage stun 2 doesn't really do a whole lot unless our rival really whiff. But like that's what Colossus SWAT and True 100%, the ultimate wall breaker, is there for.
So thank you.
I really don't have anything else to add. It's interesting to see how you put everything together, especially knowing and having played against Bowie before, especially the way Rebby plays. The few things that I thought might get included did, and I think that's awesome. So looks good.
Thanks.
But what's the name of the deck and why did you choose it?
The Bowie'ville Throwdown, because it's going to be in Louisville, baby. The Bowie'ville.
Right, we'll move over to Richard and we'll see how his bake can follow up from that.
Thank you so much.
So yeah, Bowie'ville, it was right there, right, Chris? Like it's just, it was the obvious name for the deck, I think. So we've obviously both gone for the death symbol. So this one's, I think, going to be a little bit closer than maybe the last one was. I've gone for a slightly different approach. So a little bit more of a string like attacks. So one of the first things I saw was break-in. So we can form twice on our turn. So I thought the idea, okay, let's play maybe a little lower difficulty curve, and that's our only 5. So we can like form, smash your break in, commit another one, then play a 4 diff with another bunch of stats. And then in that sort of theme, we've got Ripper Arrives. So another one of, so we could play maybe a break in into Ripper Arrives with another Bury form on top of that. That's got the stats. We then carry it forward onto like a third attack, maybe a huge battle aura or something. And having the ability to just pitch like a foundation on our kill turn just to take away the defenses so that things are connecting. So that was kind of, and obviously we got Sweeping Daggers because it's Sweeping Daggers. It's the best card and like arguably the best attack in the game, if not one of the. And obviously if we're worried about things like unyielding, it gets rid of them, right? So just a great basis for holding the Bury stats because it's just nice, good base stats anyway. Battle Aura, just again another one of those sort of great attacks in the game. He's got his face on, draws us some cards if we're trying to string a bit and have a bit of card flow through. Obviously gets huge, so a really nice one to sort of have on the end of a string. Jaw Jammer, just a way of pushing damage through as a throw. I wanted just some throws in there, so maybe to generate some momentum early, because obviously Break-In does have powerful 3. And again, you just have sometimes nice just to have a throw to hold those Bury stats to say it's coming at you, and yeah, sure, you may be able to block, you may be able to reduce the speed, but you're still taking half. And then we got sort of a bit of a utility piece in Falling Heel Strike. Obviously, we're going to be flipping a load face down, we're going to be building face down. So having that utility of being able to just flip the ones up that are very important. So obviously, we want face downs, but we do want to sometimes have a stage that does something. So that's why just having that in there to A, add some low blocks into our attacks, and B, just to being able to have a bit more utility in our stage. I've gone with a full 3 copies of Filled with Doubt. It was 4, but I cut 1. Much like Chris, I don't like playing much non-orange or grey in a 5-hander, but I think like 4 cards total is about where I'm happy with. So, and I think Filled with Doubt is just one of the best ones, especially if the worry is something like an Unyielding. But there's just so many other like attacks that sort of fold to a Filled with Doubt that I think just having 3 there is fine. It's just one of the best actions you can hope to be playing, and I think playing anywhere between 1 and 4 in your main deck on any character I think is correct. I think playing 0 isn't. So we've got Willy Tiber, just a single sort of backup. Works with our theme of obviously destroying our own foundations. So again, it gets us built up early, and we can also destroy it as well. So just a little kind of bit of utility through him. Onto our foundations. So Foresight, I love a Foresight just as a way of getting that early build on, especially because we are playing quite a few 3 diffs. We're playing probably not quite as high a curve as Chris was, but I do love a Foresight just to try and guarantee a 3 to 4, 4, maybe a 5 build on turn 1. And it's a really good candidate for just getting flipped to Bury, right? Syndicate target just because I wanted another low block somewhere, so just having that 0/6 helps. Botan because it's just the best 0 diff on this symbol, so again, we're trying to sort of string in this deck and put sort of 2 to 4 attacks together in a turn, so having that way of filtering our hand is going to be useful. Pushing the limits, we basically sacrifice a foundation every turn, so again, it's just more card draw in a deck that does want to be playing multiple attacks on a turn. Abrupt Loss was just a sort of spammy low block. That was another way of pushing damage through, because again, we're almost certainly always turning it on. We won't necessarily always have like the scope to be committing foundations just for damage, but a commit for +3 is pretty decent on a 1/5 with a low block on it. So just sort of filled a slot there. Much like Chris said, Golden Age of Channeltown is going to be crazy if it works the way he suggested it. I thought it. My first read of this card says that the one they've just done works, but further ones don't. But if none of them work, then this is so much better than I thought it was. And I think
sorry, Richard, I was corrected multiple times that it shuts off the DR, the current DR, because it's when they activate the ability before the DR is applied.
I brought that up on Discord, and then Chris was like, "What's the wording of it?" And looks and went, "No, you're right." And then we had a lot of people going, "No."
Yeah. So a deck that's trying to low stats on something, I think you just play for, right? Always cool. Again, we can use this, all 3 of this modes, right? You can use it to, they throw an attack that isn't threatening. Okay, cool. I'll put it into a card pool, build 2 face downs. I'm ready to go next turn. Or they play something threatening. I need to stop this to save myself. You stop their thing in hand. And sometimes you're like, okay, I'll put +8/+8 in my attack. Respond, always cool. You can't DI it, catch. Right, so I think it's just, again, low block, does everything we want in this character. Feral Role Model, actually, as Chris mentioned, I sort of snuck a cheeky one in here. I'm a big fan of this card, just as a little snipe. Would love to fit more in, but we just can't. But just being able to play our first attack, turn off their piece, and then maybe go reform afterwards. Weapons Clash generates face downs, generates some DR for us. Is a way sometimes of keeping us out of deadlock. Again, just generates that stage that we want, and sort of a little bit of a package with the greater goal on that sort of DR on the defensive side of it. We are a 5-hander. We want to build hard. We might not necessarily have too many blocks, so having a little bit of a DR package in here I thought was sensible. And obviously we can use that offensively if we want to be enhanced to blood one something or else, so we can get 2 damage from a flip. Dark Ward probably have more in the sideboard, but yeah, just a really nice low block utility piece of turning off their stuff in the card pool. There's so many of them, right? So a couple of little defensive foundations, especially early. This is going to be commit for -4 speed, because we're a 5-hander. We're not going to be building as hard as our opponents, so having that -4 speed early, I think, quite important. So just a couple of little speed hate there. 1 moment normalcy, because every single deck has one. It's boring. And then we've gone 7 3 diffs in here, which might be 1 or 2 too many. Like, I think you might end up, for a little bit of testing, cutting some cards in this deck down. But we've got 1 Desperate Struggle. And then similar to Chris, I've gone for a 2 and 4 split on Unbreakable and Almost Axe. You could go for a 3 and 3, but I went with the full 4 just because we can turbo build. Gives us even more protection against things like Unyielding when we don't have the momentum to activate Unbreakable. And that's another part of the reason for having those Jaw Jammers to generate momentum to turn things like this on. But yeah, so that was it really. Again, very similar to Chris's, maybe a little slightly different style in terms of the way it's doing its attacks.
I did call out earlier, happy to see Desperate Struggle in here. And Dark Ward, that's one of the cards I've been reaching, is amazing, and I think greatly underutilized in a lot of decks I've played up against. I will say, since I don't play Bowie, I'm looking in it in terms of if I was playing about this against these decks, how would I feel about it? I would hate sitting across from this. So good job.
I really appreciate the use of breaking. It really flavors Bowie and being able to use his form, which is essentially a once per turn, more than once per turn, which feels really good, especially when There's a possibility of them flashing the first one with like the Doria 6, or reducing the damage all the way down to nothing, being able to go, actually, well, now that you used your resources here, I'm going to do it again. Good luck. I think a lot of the foundation pieces are very interesting, and there are some that I have not considered in a buoy deck before, but it's been really cool to see like the perspective on that as well, and like these actually have this benefit and here's how. So I've really enjoyed that as well.
We'll retire to the judges' table and we'll discuss who's going to walk away with the big W.
May the best man win, Chris.
Good job, Richard. Good luck.
We've got these two really cool decks. They've both had different approaches on the same symbol. How are you feeling initially, Remy?
I am a little sad everyone used the dust symbol, but I know it's the more commonly found aggressive symbol, more commonly found meta symbol. I was hoping someone would take the reins of, okay, well, what about Earth? Earth has had success. Let's try Earth, or let's try water. But it was death, so I was a little bit sad about that. But I think, man, if I could be completely honest, if I can mush these decks together and put my favorite parts of each of them into like one deck, I think it'd be a really, really, really cool deck.
If only you had time between now and Louisville to do that.
Oh, that's like 3 weeks. I don't know. I gotta like sit. I gotta like sit around.
Is it 3 weeks? Jeez.
It's almost, yeah, because 3 weeks. Yeah. Initial impressions though, I think they are doing similar things, but yes, different things in the same instance. I think Chris is doing a very aggressive, high potential damage output plan, while Richard has a more reserved, aggressive plan with his attack lineup. I was only able to find Chris's when I pulled it up. I think what I would have wished from Chris's deck is that it had breaking, of course. I think that's a really important card for Bowie now, and it's huge. And that replacing Earthbreaker, in my opinion, would have made the deck like a little more elevated. Of course, we saw some cool tactics. I think outwit cards are really cool and important in this. So it was really cool to see those in Chris's deck. There were a couple cards that I was like, I don't know why this is in here, but I'll listen, and I still didn't truly understand the sauce. I understand Reluctant Role Model being a 0 difficulty, and that's the only thing I understood about that card.
I think Chris is kicking himself for not including breaking. Honestly, I think that is what it comes down to. I think Chris is kicking himself for not realizing that he could include breaking in the deck. I think that would have dramatically changed the way that you feel about Chris's deck. Honestly, Rebby, everything else, I mean, I have never played Bowie again. I've only played against Rebby's Bowie, and I hated it. So
then you played against Bowie, you're good.
Yeah, and I hated it. So I think I hated Richard's list a little bit more because of the defensive capabilities he had in his foundations. So if I'm approaching it on that aspect, since this is supposed to be a competitive deck that Rebby's playing in Louisville, I think I would give it to Richard over Chris.
Given their builds, who do you feel can recover or handle unyielding the best?
I think, in my opinion, it is harder for Chris's deck to turn on Unbreakable. If we look at the cost of Unbreakable, you have to be able to discard a momentum. He had no throws. He has no guaranteed damage on play. So with that said, he could have every single attack blocked by a Rodan because you don't have enough face downs in. And then it goes back to their turn. For some reason, Rodan's playing Unyielding Destruction. And now your response is sitting here waiting for you. You can't pay the cost. And that's why it's so important to have a throw in Bowie. You have to be able to... The momentum is essential in a lot of the strategies. Just getting that poke in, getting your face downs ready, and that momentum is ready, and they have to be able to deal with that, or you're going to deal with their game plan and essentially hinder them. I also wanted to mention I really appreciated one thing Bowie gets stuck with is too many face down foundations, which is not a huge issue, but when you're trying to rebuild in after you've been unyielding destructed, unyielding destruction does not touch backups. Willie Tiber counts as cost to build with Bowie because he is face up and he can be counted as sacrifice, so he will build in as well. So he is a great recovery piece. And I think that like pushed it over the edge for me a little bit, even though I wasn't like the biggest fan of Richard's attack deck. Of course, breaking is in there. That's my favorite. I just wasn't a fan of Ripper Arrives. I think that was my least favorite card in his deck.
Yeah,
But-
I mean, Richard kind of went for a low cost, low impact on stats.
Yeah.
Because Bowie's meant to give stats, whereas Chris has gone for a lot more synergy, a lot more utilizing Bowie's ability on attacks that already have high stats. Colossal SWAT on other ones. But after an unyielding, trying to play multiple 5s and 6s could be an issue for Bowie.
Yes, and how many 6s he had is devastating. You can run maybe 3 because you're gonna 5-handers can at max build 3 to 4 typically on turn. And if you check a 3 on that 6, you're done for the turn. You don't get to do anything else. So they fully block it. You're hindered another turn. You have to wait. You have to. Bowie already has low enough defense. I hope they don't find 36. The way Richard's playing is a more Bowie-centric idea. As much as I'm sad it's not the symbol I want. But he does present a good death deck. Death deck that is amazing to just throw at the wind and see how it goes. And it's a really good starting point of, okay, here's where I am. Now I can incorporate things like some outwits from like Chris's deck, put them in there, and really integrate all of that, and you have a better end result. So that's why I'm kind of leaning a lot more towards Richard.
I was gonna say, as far as Chris's deck, it does have some stuff going for it. Like Rebby just said, the outwit cards, military tactics as being one of them, I think is something great that if they're stringing together a bunch of attacks on their turn, you can just say, nope, over a quarter of their attacks, 5 out of the 18 are 6 diffs. And playing 5-hander, that is very difficult to be able to pull off. I do like that they both were playing with the assets. Military Police Brigade, I'm so glad that I called that out and Chris presented it immediately. But I pointed out on Richard's deck, but Chris has it as well because I was able to pull up his sideboard really quick as far as having the Dark Ward and Desperate Struggle. So Chris did have that as well. It was just in his side. So it is a bit of a toss-up for me. I think it does come down to attacks, and kind of based on what you said, Rebby, not having a throw is kind of crucial. The 6 diffs being in there and being about 26-27% of your attacks is kind of a big deal. Not having Unbreakable in there, kind of a big deal. The one thing, I don't know if Richard included it, but I had never seen, because it is an outwit card that Chris included, Risky Gamble. I don't know that I've ever seen that played like at all, and I think it is a great card to have as an outwit card, especially because as far as deck composition and introduction of stuff, we were talking about Attune cards, being more prevalent on and on ever since Attack on Titan 1 whenever they were introduced. One of my issues that I've always had with the initial introduction of series, like Critical Role being Challenger Series first, and then spells getting expanded upon in Heroes of Exandria, outwit cards being introduced into an Attack on Titan, they're not actually getting multiple iterations until the next series, the next set in the series gets released. So it's good to see that more outwit cards are not only out there, but more outwit cards are being played. So having that included in there, and I think if you take those and smash them into Richard's deck, like you said, Rebby, it could be pretty good to play at Louisville.
Yeah, especially Shape Changer's skill flips
Yes,
those outwit
Shape Changer
cards back.
skills.
And I didn't even think of that. So I was like, oh, that's cool. Easy
Well, that's
flip.
what we were talking about as far as having Greenie inside the deck. You know, just having a single backup that essentially says first enhance. You can flip a card to flip back over the ones that actually matter.
Yeah. Makes me think of man, what would a Bowie backup deck look like?
No, we first mentioned that. I'm like, legit.
Yeah.
No, seriously. Put that together and get Rebby on the backup train with me so we can just talk about backups all day long and it would be great.
Throw some death rattles,
But-
it'll be fine.
Oh, no, dude. Death Rattle is such. Oh, God. I love messing with people with that card so much. Just. You want to destroy it? Okay, I burn you for 4 every time.
It has to be the solo leveling one though.
Yeah, the promo one.
Oh, the art. Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Yeah, I happen to acquire 8 of those, so I've got my playset and my in binder set.
But
Love
we've
it.
digressed long enough. We need to come up with a decision. Both players have got good points and bad points in their decks.
I'll go first. Like I said, I don't play Bowie. I've only played against Bowie, and if this is looking at Rebby taking this to Louisville, if I'm sitting across from it, which one would I feel more threatened by? And that would be Richard's deck as it is right now. If I'm looking at the deck list, I'm sitting down, I'm getting ready to play against Rebby. If she had Richard's deck list, I would feel more threatened by that than I would on Chris's.
Yeah. Taking really digesting both of them in as we've been discussing. I really do see, as Snuggy said, there's a lot more terror in my brain involved with Richard's deck. I think it has stable game plan, which is essential to what Bowie has to be able to do in this meta. And there's just too much volatility in Chris's deck at this current moment. As much as I would love to smush the decks together and make the perfect deck, with both of what they said, I think Richard's deck surpasses.
When Rebby gets to break the news and it's
Maybe
on me
great
this time.
news.
I'm ready to accept defeat. Come on, guys.
Uh-huh.
I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it.
So there was a lot of talk about both decks, great points and not so great points. Ideally, Rebby would love to smash your decks together and let you both win, but unfortunately we can't do that. So I'll hand over to Rebby to announce the winner and why they won.
Okay. First of all, I want to say congratulations to both of you for making it to the finals of this game.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Very good talent, very good skill in your deck building, and that kind of shows why you are even on this game. So very big congratulations there. As Brett said, I wish I could take both of your decks and mush them, because oh my gosh, you guys had cool things in each of your decks that I have personally never thought of to put in a Bowie deck, and made me go, wow, after this I want to go build Bowie. Taking a look over everything, kind of what the meta presents currently, what it will present at Louisville, along with tactics, defenses, and everything. I have made the decision that, as much as I love both of your decks, I am picking Richard's deck.
Oh, I knew it. I knew. Oh my gosh. Congratulations, Richard. I knew it.
Thank you.
I'll go into detail a little bit just as an explanation. I think breaking is huge in Bowie. I think being able to form multiple times per turn is really important. I think you had a lot of 6 difficulties in your deck that a 5-hander had, and it's very scary to start playing those right away.
Oh yeah, for sure. I know. Yeah.
Yeah, I loved a lot of the techniques you had. The outwits that I hadn't even thought about were really good as well. I just was worried too much about how high difficulty your attack package was. And
yeah, I get it.
I think the last thing also was no guaranteed momentum. With having a throw in your attack, Unbreakable is online.
Yeah. I saw, like, I immediately, the minute he said break in, I was like, I was about to scoop up and just walk out. I was like, no, it's fine, it's all good. And then like the throw thing, I don't know, like, yeah, we talked about it, and while you guys were saying that, I was like, sure, yeah, Bowie form on a throw is always good. So it's like it's never a bad thing to have. So yeah, I'm not. Oh no, I can't. I lost to the king of cookery. It's all good. He has 2 cook wins. He has 2 cook
And-
wins. He's the
and
king
yeah,
of
and-
cookery.
I don't think like my deck is by any means perfect, right? There's even like when I was chatting with Chris, like the greater goal is there enough things to trigger that sort of thing? Like maybe that should have been concern for Annie, which was another one I kind of wanted to fit in somewhere. Things like that, is there too many 3 diffs there? Is 3 filled with doubt too many? But I think I was quite happy with where I ended up. Like with that sort of the attack package, I think was the thing I was happiest about with this deck. Like, yeah, break-in was like the first card I saw. I'm like, well, I guess I'm playing this card at 4x, and then just sort of went from there, really.
Yeah, well,
And I will say really quick, Richard, you hit it. The attack package ultimately is what it came down to. Chris, I did the number really quick. It was like 27-28% or 6 diffs on your attacks.
Yeah, a lot.
Which is a lot. Breaking was kind of the crucial one. But I will say, I blame my not sorting. I blame my sorting for standard instead of all. But whatever. It's all good. Yeah.
I saw that card and I was like, I lost. It was it's such a good card. But sorry, Snuggy, go ahead.
No, you're good. I did give credit to you for the outwits because Risky Gamble. I had never seen that played ever. And some of the outwit cards are amazing in this deck, and Shape Changer skill really helps that. The one thing that Brett and I both commented on is Rini would be amazing. Just being able to unflip cards that you still need. And I've said before, I'll say it again, Rini and Desperate Struggle are a match made in heaven. Those cards should always go together, in my opinion. But the only reason I brought it up, Chris, is because the backup deck for Bowie, please, for the love of God, make it. And send it to me and force Rebby as well to play it, because backup Bowie sounds amazing.
Back that buoy up, baby. Back that buoy up.
I would love to see it. I would love to see it happen. I would love to see it on stream at Louisville. Cough, cough, Rebby. You both did an amazing job. I had to judge it based on if I'm sitting across from it, which one as is I'm going to be more frightened of. And Richard, your attack package is more threatening.
Thank you. Yeah, we did talk in the downtime of the idea of putting a Bowie form on Ravagers of War and how scary that would be. So yeah, I think that there might be something there, but that need more than half an hour to make that one, I guess.
Very true.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yes, for sure.
But yeah, congratulations, Richard. You have
Thank
won.
you.
And unfortunately, you have to come back and face off against Kai and Reese. Congratulations, Chris, for making it this far. You did a great job on your decks, and you've got yourself some great content to come out from this yourself. Did you have fun at least?
Oh, I had a blast. Also, my OBS shattered like halfway through deck 1. It's okay. I'm not worried about it. It's all good. I had a blast. I'm glad I was able to compete first before being asked to judge sometime in the future, because competing's it's so much fun. I think this is probably some of the best UVS content out there. So keep doing it. We need more of this, man. We need it live too, by the way.
I may try and do the finals live, because I think that'd be very interesting and people might be invested in that.
That'd be cool.
That'd be cool.
Really
Big shout out to Snuggy for being here. We've been trying to collab for a while. This is the first time our schedules have lined up. Rebby, always a pleasure to chat with you in and outside of stream. Absolutely looking forward to seeing what you've got coming up with in your future content, and I'm looking forward to see how much of your prizes you give to Richard when you win Bowie with his list. When you win Louisville with his list.
Louisville,
man.
Louisville, yeah.
Louisville.
Right, man.
It's Louisville.
Brett, thanks for having me, and thank you, Chris, Richard. Love talking to you guys. I really do appreciate it. I'm kind of an outlier on the UVS scene, so anytime I actually get to talk about the game, I fucking love it. It's great.
Hell yeah.
No, you're welcome to come back and chat with me on stream or out of stream about UKVersus anytime. And Chris and Rebby, we love this game, and that's why we make content about it.
Congrats once again, Richard.
Thank you very much, and obviously big shout out to my fellow competitors, Marvin and Chris. Obviously, you fell short in the competition, but not in my heart. So
Oh, I love you too, buddy.
Well, it's great to hear. We'll get the finals going, and as Chris said, this is a lot of fun to do for everyone involved. I'm looking at trying to do a retro spin-off. Trying to find what prizing would be for that would be good, but I know there's a lot of people that would be very interested in taking part and judging a retro version of this.
It was a crucial factor. Don't forget, Street Fighter is coming out soon. Before Louisville, it will be standard legals, so don't miss out. Make sure you do pick up the decks, or you have a way of getting them and getting the cards before Louisville, because it will be crucial in some of these decks going forward.
Snuggy, is there anywhere people can find you and experience more of your sultry voice?
Nope, not at all. I'm a Blizzard Diablo partner content creator. I also do a lot of stuff with UVS on my YouTube channel. All my socials are at AKA Snuggy, minus Blue Sky, because I have my own domain, so that would be snuggy.live, or you can find me on Twitch 4 days a week at twitch.tv/Snuggy.
And Rebby, is there anywhere else we can find more of you?
Yeah, I am available everywhere online that says the name Rebby Lynn. I am a beginner-friendly focused content creator who was also documenting their competitive journey as a newish player. I can almost not say I'm new anymore.
Chris, where can people find more of you and your amazing decks?
Only here on the internet, Brody1 on YouTube and on Twitch, where I stream sometimes on Mondays and usually on Fridays if I'm not out of town and doing crashing into the ground against Justin Birch's Hanj 1 deck. I try to do content for all gamuts, but I have just given up on new player stuff, unfortunately, because I am not good at it. That's my friend Rebby's department. She's the best at it. So go give her some love. And then so like Snuggy said, maybe I'll do some videos on these things. I need some content for next week.
Thanks everyone for being here, and keep an eye on the announcements for the finals. And I've still got to stream UKVersus. We're an hour late.
Have fun.
thanks, everyone. Much love.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.